Once you've decided on your menu and concepts, and you're confident you can raise enough money to fund the business, you need to pick a name for your food truck and design a logo. There's so many considerations that go into naming your business, and it's not uncommon for owners to spend weeks thinking of the perfect name. Sometimes they spend longer thinking of names than they do developing the recipes.
I have no shortage of company names.
Michael.
That's one of them.
Here's some things to keep in mind. Number 1, make a list of as many names as you can think of and write them down instead of just thinking of them in your head. You may go through maybe 50 different names before you settle on the top 3. Number 2, ask your friends and family for suggestions. My partner Jeff's wife, Carol, actually came up with the name Yumpling. Number 3, your name doesn't have to encapsulate your entire menu. Just think about Shake Shack. Their main draw isn't even their milkshakes, it's their burgers. Number 4, if you want to include your own name in your business name, make sure it's relatively easy to spell and say.
Is Mr. Donald Nguyen there, please?
Otherwise, customers might have trouble finding your business on social media or remembering the name when they talk to their friends. Number 5, it's a hassle, but you can change your name later on if you or your customers really don't like it. Once you have at least 3 good names picked out, check online to see if any other businesses in your area has a trademark for any of them by searching the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office website. This database has all federally registered trademarks. You should also search your state's trademark database just in case there are local trademarks. If any of the names are already trademarked, I would cross them off the list. If all the names you want are trademarked, I highly recommend looking for a new name unless you want to go through the lengthy and expensive process of trying to acquire it from the trademark holder. It just isn't worth it. Why is it so important to trademark your business name and logo? If you're in this business for the long haul, you will eventually want to expand to multiple food trucks or restaurants. When your business grows to this extent, the last thing you want is for another food truck or restaurant with the same name to sully your brand image by offering bad food and poor customer service. Now, onto the logo. If you're good at design, you can come up with the logo yourself. If you're like the rest of us and the extent of your design experience is drawing on Microsoft Paint, use a freelancing website like Fiverr or Freelancer to find a logo designer for $50 or less. You can browse through their portfolios and see if their design style suits what you're looking for. Most of these sites have some sort of guarantee, so if the designer you choose is either late in completing your project or just doesn't produce great work, you should be able to walk away without losing money. But each platform is different, so make sure you read their policies very carefully. When you choose a designer, ensure that you'll get all copyrights to the logo, so you won't run into any legal trouble when you use it for your business, and either the source file or a very high quality image of the logo. You may need to blow up your logo to huge proportions in the future, and you don't want it to look grainy or fuzzy. You'll initiate the conversation by sending the designer a message. It could be something as simple as,
Oh, hi, Mark.
I'm starting a food truck called Bob's Breakfast Burritos, and I need a logo for it. I looked through your portfolio and I really like samples number 2, 3, and 7. You might also tell them what colors you do or don't want, if there are any famous logos that you like, basically anything that'll help the designer narrow down the scope of the logo design. You'll message back and forth until they get a general sense of what you want. And depending on the designer, you'll typically get 1 or 2 rounds of drafts before they send you a final design for your approval. With each draft, be as specific as possible with your feedback. And don't be afraid to say no.
Just say no.
You may not want to hurt the designer's feelings, especially when they've worked so hard to produce those drafts. But you also don't want to pay for a logo that you're only half satisfied with. When you have a final logo design, you should register it and your business name at the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office website, your state's trademark office, or both. It'll cost between $225 and $600 plus legal fees if you use a lawyer. At the state level, it costs between $100 and $200 plus legal fees. The only reason to opt for a state trademark over a federal one is money. There's one additional minor benefit of state trademark, which is that if someone in your state uses your name or logo, you may have an easier time getting assistance at the local level than at the federal level because, usually local governments typically work faster and they're usually more responsive. Otherwise, you should always opt for a federal trademark. Should you use a trademark lawyer? We were lucky because my partner Jeff was a lawyer and he took care of everything. A lot of places will recommend using a lawyer to file because over 80% of applicants receive an initial rejection. If so, you'll have to pay the filing fees again and the whole process will be delayed. There may be free or subsidized legal services for small businesses in your area that can assist with the process. More on this at the end of the next chapter. There is one final thing to think about, which is, should you trademark your name and logo together or separately? Again, it all comes down to money. If you register them together, you have to pay the fees only once. But you're only fully protected if someone uses your name and logo together. In other words, if your rival decides to copy your exact logo for Bob's Breakfast Burritos, but his business's name is Brad's Breakfast Burritos, you'll have to take him to court. So a few more costs to add to the list. We have logo design, which is going to be around $50 or a little bit more. And if you choose to trademark your logo, it could cost around $500, which brings our total to $100 on the low end and $1,550 on the high end.